Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.5 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market's off 3.1%. Bitcoin holding 107,000 plus. Ethereum holding 2,500. XRP at the number 4 spot holding $2.30. We're off 2.1 on the 24 and off 4% on the 7-day. Look at the range of price, ranging between 229 and 236. We'll keep an eye on it, but I tell you what, technical analysts in this space are predicting fireworks in the next 60 days or less. We'll get into that so you can see what they're talking about. But right now, I want to tell you, forget the 60 days. 4.5 days from now, XRP Las Vegas is jumping off, ladies and gentlemen. And when it starts, it is a whirlwind of events. You're not going to believe it. Make the investment in yourself, get the ticket, get your flight, get your room, and come have the experience of a lifetime. And that is absolutely the truth. Take a listen to the new trailer we got here, ladies and gentlemen.
XRP community, this is it.
Hello, Las Vegas! You guys having fun?
This is Bree Teresi, model and crypto enthusiast, with the final promo for XRP Las Vegas 2025. We've waited, we've planned, we've believed, and now it's here. XRP Las Vegas 2025 kicks off this Friday and Saturday. Two unforgettable days packed with speakers, strategy, and the future of finance. The community is real and the momentum is unstoppable. This isn't just a conference, this is a movement.
There's still time to get tickets. Log on to xrplasvegas.com for ticket information and conference agenda.
XRP Las Vegas 2025, we made it. Now let's make history. Lock in.
There you go, xrplasvegas.com. Get your tickets. Now let's shift gears here because, listen, keeping your assets safe is something that is absolutely paramount to each and every one of us. And here we see a phishing attempt gone through U.S. Postal Service. Now, this could happen to any company. Here they're using the example of Ledger having it happen. But listen, I've always said this as a baseline for myself, so I want to share it with you guys. When I receive something in the mail from an account that I'm dealing with, whether it's a bank account or whether it's crypto, regardless, when I receive something from the mail or I receive an email, let's say it's from Capital One even. It doesn't even have to be a crypto account. Let's say it's from Bank of America or Wells Fargo, wherever you bank. It doesn't matter. We'll use that. You receive a letter from them and they tell you something's wrong or something needs to be done where you have to share your information. I don't respond directly to that email or that piece of physical mail or a phone call. What I do is I go to my encrypted wallet and I access my account to that particular bank or crypto exchange or whatever and access it directly through my encrypted wallet where I keep all my passwords safe. And then I go into my personal account. And if they want to talk to me, they will have a notification inside of their account, whether it's Coinbase or Caleb and Brown or whoever it is. It's all right there. All of it's going to be inside of the application that you use. So that's how I do that. I would never respond to something like this, but it does look very legitimate. So be very careful out here. This is key. But then again, regardless of whether you're self-custodying or what have you, look at what happened here. New York City Bitcoin barons' vicious plan. Tortured a man for crypto for his password. This is in New York City. Now, I've reported in the last 8 weeks this happening overseas, and now we're seeing an example of it happening right here in the United States. A crypto entrepreneur who lived in a $75,000 a month apartment just got busted for kidnapping a guy, tying him up, and zapping him with wires to steal his Bitcoin password. Yes, this actually happened in a fancy 8-bedroom Manhattan townhouse. The victim finally escaped by pulling the classic "sure, I'll grab my laptop" trick and sprinted for help when the guy looked away. The defendant is now facing life behind bars while the apartment wasn't going to pay for itself. There's no worse way to downgrade your lifestyle than to move into a jail cell. Absolutely right. But listen, this is why I've told you for years now, Bradley does not self-custody. If you want to, I want you to have the right to do that. I don't want to self-custody my Apple stock. I don't want to self-custody my, Google stock and everything else. I don't want to hold my stocks. I don't want to hold my crypto. Now, you may not feel that way, and good for you. But if I don't hold my crypto, then you're saying, well, they could just kidnap you and make you get into your exchange. No, they can't. Because with Caleb and Brown, not only do I get free institutional grade custody, I get human customer service. And yes, they have multiple layers of protection for security built in, but I can add specific instructions to my account with my representative so that I could put a personal restriction, and they have, like I said, they have multiple layers of security, two-factor and the rest of it, but they also have the ability that I could make a private note on my account that says, I don't want my crypto accessed unless I do a live Zoom call proving that I am not under duress at all whatsoever and that I absolutely want to access my crypto. Or you could build, I know one customer that put the restriction on his account that my account doesn't allow crypto to be moved unless I physically go meet my rep in real life. Think of it. This is what we're talking about. Because I don't self-custody, and even though I use exchanges, I make sure that the kind of protections are in place that someone can't come into your house, kidnap you, and do these things and just get it within minutes. I make it to where it's very, very hard for me to access it, even if I don't have a bad situation happening. And that is intentional, and that makes me feel safe. That makes me realize that I'm doing the safest thing for my family, not putting them in harm. And you can do it too. Go to xrpwealth589.com and open up your free account with Caleb and Brown and start getting the best night's sleep of your life. And that's why you hear me talk about it so much. Oh, I'm so excited for XRP Las Vegas. Please get your ticket. I want to meet each and every one of you. I really, really do. Oh, it's going to be incredible. Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Let me set this up for you. We got some new info for you to see today, and you're going to love it.
If really we went big into stablecoin in this country, what effect could that have on the strength of the dollar? Because people might have to hold dollars in order to match against it, or even for treasuries.
Well, we are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. Past administration starved and almost made extinct a lot of these companies and pushed it offshore. So what we want to do is apply the highest U.S. regulatory and AML standards to digital assets, especially stable coins. And I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. Treasuries and Treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now.
There you have it. That's the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Remember the one we had before that? Had a haircut like the Three Stooges and didn't know what she was doing, right? And in fact, you could make an argument that she was trying to harm the United States of America because Janet Yellen was one of the worst U.S. Treasury Secretaries to ever sit in a chair. And here is the CEO of Tether, Paulo Ardoino. Take a listen.
That story back in March saying that you were in talks with, with a Big Four accounting firm. Since then, have you hired a firm to do this work?
We are very in good progress with that. I'm very positive.
Well, let me ask a question. Just given all the questions, why wouldn't you hire them and say, in a month from now, you need to put out a report right this second? Just because I would assume if everything is as good as you say, that would be actually helpful to your business.
Well, they still believe that there is a reputational risk, right? Again, they went from an administration that was very aggressive against crypto, with OCC being against crypto and now turning in favor of crypto. There was Operation Choke Point 2.0. The same people that are managing the Big Four auditing firms are very, very cautious. So again, being onboarded with the Big Four auditing firm for the purpose of audit is a long process and requires them to become comfortable with the new landscape that is changing.
And that's about them putting their reputation behind your numbers. That's what I'm saying. So you're saying they're not convinced yet that they want to do that work?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that they are not even started to look at our numbers. We have a public attestation that is a quarterly one, is done by BDO, that is the fifth largest auditor in the world, and is very thorough, is independently confirming our assets. Our assets are very easy. We have a certain number of issued tokens, and we have treasuries and few other assets in our reserves. So we don't have, we are very, very transparent. We had Cantor Fitzgerald for 2 years. They went through the most thorough certification of what we have in our reserves. They counted every single dime. They turned every single rock. We had our Latnik last year in 2024 going publicly saying, I see their reserves, I see their money. So it's not difficult, but it requires them.
Well, that's where I was going next. You mentioned Howard Lutnick and Cantor Fitzgerald. He is now obviously the Commerce Secretary. Do you feel that he's advocating for you inside the administration? What's that relationship like now, and how should the public think about that?
Well, we have a Chinese wall between us in this moment. There could be conflict of interest, so we are not allowed to talk to him. Yet we maintain a great relationship with Cantor Fitzgerald. We custody all our treasuries there. They are a great firm. They are the first firm that in Wall Street started to really care about Bitcoin.
Well, you're based in El Salvador, and I guess we'll have some regulation here, but you can understand why people would certainly want to know more and have a lot more transparency. I think that's what we're getting at. And I would think that, isn't the Trump coin sort of a competitor to you eventually, or not?
Well, it's different, right? Trump coin is a meme coin.
Not that one, the stable coin. Liberty, whatever it's called.
Yeah, World Liberty Finance, I think you're referring to. We welcome competitors. This night I saw that big banks are going after our business model. Well, actually not our business model. I think that mostly the difference is that we serve the people that the banks would not touch with a 10-foot pole, not because they're bad people, just because they're too poor of being of their interest. All the hundreds of millions of people living in Africa and in Kenya, Nigeria, and all that, right? So.
There you go. So he makes the argument for all the places that banks won't go. But here's what we do know about the current form of the Genius Act. It allows Tether to operate in the U.S. in secondary market without registering as a permitted payment stablecoin issuer, provided it complies with the U.S. law enforcement requests, such as freezing or burning tokens when they're given a lawful order to do so. This foreign issuer loophole enables Tether to continue trading USDT in the U.S. without adhering to the Act's full reserve transparency licensing requirements, as long as it meets OFAC and FinCEN's compliance standards, which it reportedly already does, they say. However, Tether cannot issue payment stablecoin directly in the United States unless it relocates to the U.S. and registers as a permitted issuer and complies with the Act's stringent requirements. And this is where I just highlight this very quickly for you all, that, there's your difference, right? Just like USDC doesn't have its own network, which it's trying to get in place now with the IPO, and then you have, with the help of the IPO, excuse me, because it's already out, they say, and then you have Tether, which doesn't have its own network, right? And then you have the real USD, which does, and the ability to be on multiple other networks. And I just see this, everybody's handicapped just slightly, it seems, except for the real USD when it comes to the way that this legislation is going to come down. And it feels like, to me, the thing to hold on to is that the real USD can issue directly in the United States to institutions. And that is remarkable. And I think that's where you're going to see real USD leapfrog beyond Tether at some point once we get legislation. Let's keep going, because the reminder is, remember, this stablecoin race and stablecoin wars are going to get a lot bigger really, really quickly, because here comes the rest of the banking industry, right? And I say, wow, what it would be if you had real USD issuing stable coins to all of these banks, like a white label situation. I don't know. That's like a dream scenario. I would love that. And remember what this looked like back in the day, years ago? Remember seeing any of these diagrams? US bank, Korean bank, Japanese bank, Brazilian bank, Mexican bank, Euro bank. It's all tied to the network of the XRP ledger, isn't it? Yeah. Well, let's keep going. Remember, over the last few days, we've seen a Singapore stablecoin, a Brazilian real-backed stablecoin debut on the XRP ledger, as well as we've also seen two European stablecoins, the Euro CV and then the Europe. So this is remarkable. So we've seen multiple stablecoins make their way to the XRP ledger, and it looks a lot like this to me. Now, I know that this is showing direct issuance of currency here, but we're talking about private issuers, stable coins of these countries, representative, their dollar. But this is what the map looks like. And XRP sits right in the middle of it. This is the plan. And this is why it's going to work. Because everyone else is trying to just get a stable coin to sit in the middle. But that isn't how it's going to work. That's not how it's working. And meanwhile, reminding everybody what we covered yesterday here, the G20 is all. They're recommending Ripple, Net, and Stellar to work in collaboration of the new financial system. That's basically what we're talking about for payments here. And we're only talking about the G20, ladies and gentlemen, that's all. You know, just the largest economies of the world, right? Recommending Ripple, Net, and Stellar. There it is. The U.S. Faster Payments Council, for which Ripple is a part of. Hello, Pat Thielen. And then where we're going in just a few years. And the Honorable Cristian Carlo in this clip will be on stage in another 5 days, six days.
Most of the money moving around the world, most of the dollars moving around the world will be moving on tokenized digital networks. And within 10 years, I predict to you that there won't be a securities offering, a debt offering, an equities offering of any significance that's not tokenized on chain. And those securities offerings that remain in an analog state will be like those bearer bonds in DTC's vault, the coupon clipping bonds that don't matter anymore. Non-tokenized, non-digitized securities will be like those old dusty photo albums, and securities on chain will be like the digital photos on your smartphone.
Unbelievable right there, ladies and gentlemen, which is why I want to remind everybody about that Hidden Road acquisition for $1.25 billion as they acquire this prime broker, bridging traditional finance, clearing, and settlement using Ripple's suite of products here. And you know what? That $3 trillion that they're clearing annually across markets with more than 300 top institutional customers, guess what? It's all going on the XRP ledger. Hidden Road will in turn migrate post-trade activity across the XRP ledger to streamline operations, low cost, demonstrating XRP ledger's potential, because XRP ledger is a part of the new digital on-chain economy, and they're getting ready to roll $3 trillion onto the network. Come on in. This is a beautiful, beautiful chart by Eggrag Crypto here. Give him a follow, and he's got a great subscription group if you want to learn more. It's inverse. And sometimes technical analysts will take a chart and flip it upside down, because you can see from the price, right? 40 cents, 70 cents, $1, 12 cents. Oh, come on up here. You can see it all, right? You can see everything here. Or 7/1000ths of a penny, excuse me, coming on up to where we are. And sometimes when you flip a chart over, it is easier to see which way it will break. And it's easy to see that this chart is looking like it will break down, which is really actually up if you flip it right side up. Showing a window of between $12 and $46, but the average drop we're looking at getting is 1,500% historically. How about that? This is why he's provided a range of different drops where you could see drops coming, XRP drops below the 21 EMA, then drops an incredible 5,500%, right? It's real trace back to the 21 EMA, then drops another 2,500%. Cycle 2, you can see the XRP drops below the 21 EMA, then drops 150%, retraces to the 21 EMA, and then drops another 500%. So then you have XRP drops below the 21 EMA with a potential rise of 430%. We currently retracing back to touch the 21 EMA. If XRP stays above $2, the EMA will descend to meet the price. It's coming, and very soon, he says. Next step, the second drop. Extrapolating from history, if the pattern repeats like cycle 1, we could see XRP touch $46. If it follows cycle 2, it'll hit around $12. Averaging these projections, 2,500 plus jump plus 500%, gives approximately 1,500% jump, which roughly suggests a target of $30, which is why his estimate of $27, he says, enjoy the ride. Not financial advice from him, me, or anyone else, but I tell you, We're supposed to get stablecoin legislation very, very soon here. And all of this could begin to set off the market in a direction that it will never, ever come back to. All right, that's not financial advice from me or anyone else, just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you in Vegas.